This happened during my junior year of high school. I've been out of high school for nearly 8 years now, but this memory still plays back in my head like it just happened. I was on our school's basketball team. We practiced every day after school for about 2 hours during the season. After practice, I'd usually shower in the locker room and either drive home with a teammate or wait for my dad to come pick me up. I did not have my license yet at the time. This particular day was like any other. Practice went normal. We ran drills, ran plays, did sprints, all that good stuff. Afterward, I showered, got dressed, and headed outside to wait for my dad. A few of my teammates were also out there waiting for their rides, so we were all just standing around, talking and checking our phones. At some point while we were waiting, I realized I had left my iPod in my locker. Yeah, I know, an actual iPod, and this was back when everyone still had them. I did not want to leave it overnight, so I told my friends and jogged back to the building. Since it was past school hours, most of the doors were locked. I found one of the janitors near the side entrance and asked him if he could let me in real quick to grab something. He knew me from seeing me around and did not question it. He unlocked the door and told me to lock up behind me. The hallways were mostly dark, except for a few emergency lights and some overheads left on here and there. The locker room had that hollow echo to it, like it always does when it's empty. I went to my locker, grabbed the iPod off the shelf, and was about to shut it when I heard another locker open just a few rows over. Not a slam, not aggressive, just a normal locker opening. I figured maybe my coach had come back for something, or maybe one of my teammates had forgotten something too. I leaned out and looked toward the sound. It wasn't my coach, and it was not a student. It was a man, probably in his 40s or 50s. He was dressed in this old, weird getup, like black overalls, brown pants, and a floppy, bowl-shaped hat with a feather sticking out the side. His shoes were worn down and looked like they did not belong in modern times. He noticed me staring and gave me a small laugh, like he was amused by my reaction. Then he said, "My dear boy, I did not mean to give you a fright." He spoke in this formal, almost old-timey way that immediately threw me off. I asked him who he was, trying to keep myself together. He said he was the father of one of my teammates, and that he was just grabbing something his son left behind. Now that I did not buy. I knew all of my teammates' dads. Not every one of them super well, but enough to know their faces. I had never seen this guy before in my life. He was holding a pair of boxer briefs and a knee brace, just standing there with them, like that made his story believable. I asked him which teammate he was the father of. His whole face changed when I asked that, like I had pushed a button. His smile dropped, his eyes narrowed, and he said, coldly, mind you, "You ask too many questions. I'll handle you later." Then he slammed the locker shut and walked right past me out of the room, still holding the underwear and knee brace. I did not move. I just stood there, my heart racing, listening to his footsteps echo out of the room. I stayed frozen for maybe a full minute, waiting to hear if he was coming back. I honestly thought he was going to return with the weapon. When I felt like the coast was clear, I ran out of the locker room, through the hall, and back outside. By the time I got out of there, everyone was gone. My teammates, the janitor, just my dad parked by the curb with this pissed off look on his face. He started laying into me about how long he'd been waiting and why I wasn't answering my phone. I had to cut him off and told him what happened. Now, to his credit, he believed me instantly. He drove around the school's parking lot and the nearby streets to try and find the guy, but we did not see anyone. The next morning, I told the coach and the school office. They did not seem to care much. I was told that because nothing actually happened, that there wasn't anything to act on. I did not let this go. I asked every single one of my teammates to show me a picture of their dad. None of them matched the guy I saw. And to this day, I don't know who that man was or what he was doing in our locker room. But I know he did not belong there. In that calm way he said, "I'll handle you later," still messes with me. I did not get my license until senior year of high school. I failed 3 times before finally passing, so until then, I relied on my friend, Sasha, to drive me to school every morning. She lived in the neighborhood over and did not mind picking me up. We were close, and it kind of became our daily routine. Her showing up with coffee in one hand, blasting whatever music she was into that week. This happened during our junior year. It was a weekday morning, probably around 7:10 a.m. She pulled into my driveway like usual. I got in, and we started heading out to school. It was still a little dark out, that weird twilight in the winter when the sun hasn't fully come up yet. Not even 5 seconds after we pulled out onto the main road, we noticed this silver Dodge Charger right behind us. I mean, right behind us, practically riding Sasha's bumper. At first, we thought maybe it was just someone running late, but then they started flashing their brights and swerving a little behind us, like they were trying to intimidate us or something. I asked Sasha if she knew who it was. She glanced in the rearview and shook her head. She did not seem too bothered at first, just kept driving, but I could tell she was trying to play it cool. The car stayed behind us the entire ride. Every turn we made, every lane we switched, they followed. Never passed us, never backed off. It was a 10-minute drive to school, and for 10 minutes straight, this car was glued to us. It got to the point where I stopped talking and just stared out the side window, feeling my stomach twist up. I thought maybe we cut them off at some earlier point in the drive, and they were just trying to scare us. But this felt different. There was no honking, no hand gestures, just this quiet pressure. When we pulled into the school parking lot, the car finally peeled off and went across the street into the 7-Eleven lot. Sasha and I sat in our car for a second, just watching. I told her I did not think that guy went there for a Red Bull or donuts. Something about it felt wrong. She agreed, but we just shook it off and went into school. What else were we supposed to do? I did not really think about it for most of the day. I figured it was some random creep, or maybe just a weirdo having a bad morning. Sasha did not bring it up again either. But when the final bell rang, and we walked out to our car, we saw something that made both of us stop in our tracks. There were at least 5 police cruisers lined up outside the 7-Eleven. The silver Dodge Charger was still parked there, and cops were gathered around it. One of them had someone in cuffs and was walking him towards the back of a cruiser. Sasha squinted and then let out this small gasp. Oh my gosh, that's Ryan. I just stared at her. Who's Ryan? She paused for a second and then told me about how she had a thing with this guy she met at a college party a few months back. He was older, like 22, and went to some university about 3 hours away. She said they hung out a few times, but she got weird vibes from him and cut him off. He did not take it well and kept trying to reach out after she blocked him. I was floored. I had never heard about this guy until that moment. I asked if she was sure it was him, and she said yeah, no doubt. We stood there for a few more minutes, watching as they searched his car. One of the officers pulled something big out of the back seat. From where we were standing, it looked like a pickaxe. Another opened the trunk and took out what looked like a small chest freezer. and there was also rope. That's when I felt sick. Later, we found out someone working at the 7-Eleven had called the cops because the guy had been sitting in the parking lot for at least 6 hours, just watching the school. The employee said he kept fidgeting, stepping out of the car, looking around, and then getting back in. He did not buy anything, did not talk to anyone, just sat there, eyes on the school entrance. The cops showed up to do a wellness check or something like that, and ended up searching his car. Sasha never found out what exactly he told them, but she got a call from a detective a couple of days later, confirming he had planned on approaching her after school. He never said what he was going to do, but with the stuff in his car, it did not take much imagination. He got arrested and charged with some stalking-related offenses, and we heard he got kicked out of his college shortly after. Sasha had to give a statement. Her parents got involved, and she even had to switch up her usual routines for a while. And to this day, I think about how close that was to being something so much worse than it was. And how if that store clerk had not said anything, who knows what would have happened when school let out. People are scary, man. You just never really know who someone is or what they're willing to do. Back when I was a freshman in high school, we moved states because my dad got a better job. It was one of those life changes that I did not ask for and wasn't happy about. I had to leave my childhood friends, my old school, and start fresh in a completely new town. Now, I've never had a hard time making friends, but everything just felt so miserable that year. I was still getting used to the building, the teachers, the people. And that December, right before the Christmas break, it snowed hard. Like one of those heavy snows where you assume school will be canceled, but for some reason, we still had to go. Because of the snow, and the fact that it was so close to break, all of our classes were basically throwaway periods. I'm talking movies, board games, wandering the halls. Nobody cared. Last period of the day, I asked to go to the bathroom. I did not even really need to go. I just wanted to stretch my legs and walk around a little. And the school bathrooms there were old and always freezing. I walked in, checked the stalls, completely empty, and went into the second stall from the wall. I was in there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes tops. When I came out, I walked over to the sink to wash my hands, and I remember glancing up at the mirror. That's when I saw it. In the middle mirror, written in black Sharpie across the glass, were the words, "Mora, the Sandman is coming." That was my name, spelled exactly right, and I swear on everything, it wasn't there when I came in. I was completely alone, and I never heard the door open. The bathroom doesn't even have windows. There's no other entrance or exit, just that one door. I froze for a second, like my brain couldn't catch up with what I was seeing. Then I turned and checked the stalls again. They were empty. Well, I left and went straight to the front office. I did not know what else to do. I was scared that someone might think I did it, so I just told them what I saw. They did not seem too concerned. The receptionist said they'd send a janitor down to clean it, and asked me to head back to class. That was it. The rest of the day dragged on. I barely remember the bus ride home, just that it took forever because of the snow. When I got home, everything felt normal again. My parents were in the kitchen making dinner. I did my homework, watched a show. Honestly, I had kind of convinced myself someone was just messing around and had nothing to do with me. But that night, after I got into bed, I got a message on Facebook. It was from someone named Sandman XO. Now, I did not recognize that name. The profile picture was just a blurry photo of a dark, empty beach. The only message they sent said, "The Sandman is here." That's when I knew this was not random. I clicked on the profile and saw they were following me, plus several of my close friends from my old school, a few from my new school too, even my older cousin who I don't talk to much. There were no posts or other photos, just that one weird beach picture and a growing list of people I knew personally. Well, I showed my parents right away. My dad thought it was some sick prank and told me not to answer the message. He made me block the account. He also reported it to Facebook, but nothing really came of it. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking back to the bathroom mirror. How could someone have known I was in there, or known my name? I had a few classes with people who might have heard my name called for attendance, but I did not have any enemies or drama. I wasn't even popular or anything like that. I kept thinking, what if someone had followed me in there and waited? But then again, I did not hear anything. No footsteps, no sounds at all. The next day at school, I checked the mirror during last period. The writing was gone. The janitor must have cleaned it like they said he would. Nobody mentioned it. None of my friends knew anything about it. Some even joked that maybe I wrote it for myself for attention. A few weeks passed and nothing else happened. No more messages, no other signs. It was like someone flipped a switch and moved on. But to this day, I still don't know who wrote my name on that mirror, or who the Sandman really was.